The pandemic, we know, has impacted on all of us, but particularly children and families where they've had somebody in their family who's unwell or have experienced a loss, bereavement during that time. What we've found is that children and families, they haven't had access to the usual networks of support. This has led to them, not being able to kind of process their grief as they might have. They haven't had, friends, family, schools, community groups. They haven't had access to those things. So, that's had a huge impact. It's led to difficulties in communication within the family, isolation, anxiety, and just additional difficulties that, weren't there before. We've found that when it comes to COVID, that, we've had families who've had family members, die from COVID, and they haven't been able to see them from, when they leave the home feeling poorly, haven't been able to be with them, during their last days. And that's really difficult, that's not normal, in kind of, in grief. Normally we can access our loved ones, be with them, hold their hands. So we're seeing more referrals because people haven't had access to, the sort of normal processes of grief, their normal kind of, networks. So, sadly, they're coming to us when things are difficult now.
The last 2 years have been really tough, and we've been working with all of our partners to support residents, including our children and young people, as we lead Sutton's recovery from the pandemic.
So the COVID recovery fund from Sutton has meant that we've been able to have more worker time. They've been able to kind of give that time to families, and we've been able to keep the service kind of, fully up and running and making sure we reach those people that need it, which has been fantastic.
We know from the engagement conversations we've been having over the last 12 months that mental health is a priority for many people. So I'm pleased that our COVID Recovery Fund has been able to help Jigsaw For You offer this bereavement service and support more of our children and young people who are going through such a difficult time.
Every child and family we know is unique, so we assess their needs. What do you need? What do you need right now? And then we will look at kind of what sort of support we offer.
Dad suffered from brain cancer for about 4 years until he unfortunately passed back in 2020.
Yeah, I think the difference it makes, and what we hear from sort of children and families, is that they're able to talk about their feelings. They're able to have their questions answered. They're able to kind of address any myths that they have. They can also understand the grief process. What they're feeling is normal for what they've experienced. They don't feel so alone, don't feel so different. They get to realise as well the strengths that they have, to connect with their memories of the person, and keep that connection alive.
It's really nice just to talk to someone who sort of just sympathises and understands, and sort of made how I think about things just a lot clearer.